Okay, welcome back to part 2 of John and his race across America bikes. So let's talk about this one. Tell me how this one, what were your choices, anything personalized yet, or what were you looking for when you got this bike?
Well, I was looking for a secondary bike.
Okay.
Because my primary bike will be a Trek Domani, which is more of an endurance shape. A lot more comfortable. It has I wouldn't call it suspension, but the seat post has a little compliance. That's called ISO speed. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and in the stem also. So,
they do.
So it absorbs a little bit, not a ton. It's still pretty, but it's definitely way more comfortable. So I wanted to get a secondary bike for RAAM.
Always need a spare bike.
Right, and I also wanted to get something I could use for triathlons.
Okay.
And so I went with this as more of an aero.
How many triathlons do you do during the year?
Yeah, not many. One or two.
One or two, so you don't really need a tri bike.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and I'm only doing like half Ironmans.
Okay.
Right, I haven't graduated. I might try a full Ironman next year, but we'll see how everything goes. But yeah, so this bike, is really light. But really rigid, super stiff, aerodynamic.
This is a foil, right?
This is Scott foil.
Scott foil. And what do you got going on for components? Because I see
I got a kind
red,
of a mix.
you got rival, rear derailleur. I just worked on your brakes.
Yeah.
So
so it came stock with rival.
With
everything.
rival, but you got to have a power meter.
I don't though.
I know. I wonder why.
Yeah, I need to. I totally need to. It's something I'm always wrestling with. It's just so expensive. It's just so hard to spend money on.
I know. I get it.
But I really do need to.
Have you ever ridden with one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I find that once you start using one and you understand what the numbers mean, it's almost like you can't ride without one.
For sure. And I do everything by heart rate. Is how
heart rate
I do
is good.
Everything. But I totally need a power meter. But I changed the cranks.
Yes, sir.
Because I got these off. Someone pulled them off, and I got them for super cheap.
I like that.
They weigh like 3/4 of a pound less than rivals.
Yes.
It's just crazy how light these are compared to the rival cranks.
Yeah.
I mean, I dropped like 3/4 of a pound on just with the cranks. And then I changed the rear cassette.
Okay.
For RAAM, it's a 1033.
So a 1033, and then your chain rings are
4633.
4633.
Yeah.
Okay.
So my old chain rings were 4835s. So I went smaller and bigger in the back just because.
Which one of your bikes is going to be the climbing bike? I know you said this one was your spare bike, but which one do you prefer to climb on?
I might do some climbing on this one. The advantage on this one compared to the Domani is this one's about 2.5 pounds lighter than the Domani. Okay. But I'll mostly be on the Domani. But I'm thinking I'm just going to mix it up just to get some. Yeah.
So speaking of mixing it up, do you have different saddles so that they fit differently, or do you have the exact same saddle on both bikes?
Yeah, they're different. They're very similar. They're both. I have Cell Italias on both. Yeah. I've been riding these saddles.
So you like a short nose saddle then?
Short nose saddle. Okay. Yeah, and pretty
Any
big cutout.
Any particular reason why the short nose?
I find this one to be the most comfortable for me. Everyone goes through the saddle battle.
The saddle battle.
Like trying to find the perfect seat.
I'm going to steal that from you. The saddle battle.
Yeah. So I did that too, and it's such a pain because you're like, well, everybody says this is the best saddle. Right. So you get that one, you're like, you ride it for 50 miles, and you're like, oh, that's horrible. Yeah. Right? And so it's all about just finding the right saddle.
True.
Really, for like long endurance rides, that's like the key, right?
It is.
So I really like this saddle.
Tell me about your handlebar choice, or is this stock?
This
what's going on
stock.
Here?
I'm actually going to change the handlebars after RAAM. Okay. But yeah, this is all stock.
Okay. Yeah. And it's been working out though?
Yeah, it's working out.
Do you like a flatter top, a rounder top? What do you like for your hands?
I like flatter tops for me personally because I have pretty big hands. And so I get more of a rest. When I'm moving positions, I get in that position, I get more of a rest on my palms. Yeah.
Now, this bike doesn't have aero bars.
No.
Does your Domani have aero bars?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because it's, dude, it is essential.
Yeah. Well, and my plan is...
Actually, I'm back. You're being backlit.
Oh, okay.
Let me switch this way.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you, sir.
So my plan is, after we climb out of here and go down the glass elevator to Borrego Springs, is to slap them on down there. And then,
slap them on?
Yeah.
Oh, so you don't have them on your bike yet?
Yeah, I'm not gonna. I'm just gonna keep them off till we get down there.
I
they
gotcha.
just the way I'm kind of a broad shoulder. So
you are. Yeah.
Where they are, it doesn't interfere with my riding, but when I'm climbing, it does kind of taps my wrists a little bit.
Yeah. The issue with most aero bars is I'm going to use my hands on your bike. They take up a lot of real estate here, so then you're just kind of forced to only one position on these bars.
Yeah.
Because when you go to grab the armrest, it's not very comfortable.
Yeah.
And you feel so high off of the the handlebar.
So for climbing, I really don't like them on there, but
I don't either. Yeah.
But yeah, once we drop down into Borrego, I'm going to do the glass elevator, and then we're going to switch riders at TS1, which is the first time station right at Borrego Springs, and then Bill will take off. I'll slap on the aero bars real quick.
And he probably has aero bars because you said he does Ironman and triathlons. The value of an aero bar, obviously the aerodynamics, but just that hand position, the ability to change and just redistribute the weight from your hands to your bone structure of your forearm, shoulder. It just distributes it in a different way, in a different place, I should say.
It's definitely a nice rest.
Yeah.
I find for me personally, I start to tighten up in my hip flexors when I'm on the bars for too long. So I like to get off them for a little while,
which of course is the movement towards the shorter crank arms.
Yeah.
Right? They're trying to get people into shorter crank arms for that time trial and triathlon position, so you don't get the hip impingement. So I've always ridden 172.5s, 170 on my fixed gear bike just because of the high cadence and stuff. But who knows? I may go to a 165 one day and just see what that feels like.
Yeah, a lot of people are doing that now.
They are.
I have quite a few friends that are just... I actually, when I got those, it had 175s, and those are 172.5s.
And did you notice a difference?
A little bit. After I got fitted on this bike, finally, which is, I swear by fitting, even though it's to most people, it's kind of like this weird voodoo science. It's like, really? They only adjust the seat a tiny bit?
Oh, my God, yes.
But it makes such a huge difference. And so after I got fitted, I was like, oh, it's perfect, right? Everything feels really good on this bike now.
So the analogy I give people all the time, obviously you play basketball. Do you follow football at all? Okay. So in football, they always talk about the game being a game of inches, right? They bring out the chains to see if they got the first down, and it's just a little nub of the football, and it's a first down, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Game of inches. Cycling, I say, is a game of millimeters. Literally 2 to 3 millimeters can make such a difference to someone's saddle position or their reach on the handlebars. So yes, it does seem like sometimes, wait, that's all you did? And I was in your fitting stand for an hour and you're charging me $100? And you're like, but think about how many times you would have gone out on the ride, made adjustments yourself. And I watch a gentleman, Reginald Scott, and he talks about, hey, you can work on your own bike fit. You don't really need to get one. True enough. But how many times and how many iterations of your position are you going to go through before you finally settle in on something? So, that's the other side of the argument of should you get a bike fit.
Totally.
When you got your bike fit, this is an interesting question. Are both of your bikes identically? Are they your contact points? Are they identical?
No.
Okay.
So, which is interesting. Right?
It is, isn't it?
And this is where I screwed up. It's like when I got this bike, I was like, well, I had my Domani fitted for me, so I'm just going to copy, and do the same thing. And so I rode this thing for like a month and a half, and it never felt perfect. It felt okay, right? But it's like, it still just doesn't feel that good. And then I took it into the guy who fits me, and he's like, oh yeah, seat's too high. I'm like, really? But it's the same as my, he's like, oh, it's totally different bike. It's totally different fit.
Yeah, because it depends on the bottom bracket drop, the head tube angle. It's just so many different things. Typically your X, Y, and Z everything should fit, but sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah, it's totally different dimensions on everything. So.
Something just dawned on me. Your group sets between the two bikes, are they the same?
No.
Okay, because I thought you said something about, I ride Shimano, and this is my first time on SRAM.
Yeah, that's right.
So how are you going to deal with that compatibility?
Yeah, well, we have extra wheels for both bikes.
Okay.
And this is really, the backup bike. If I have a bunch of
Damani's
Shimano
probably
parts,
75% of the workload? Okay.
Exactly.
All right.
And so, and really, it's not so much the group set, it's the Domani is a mechanical shifting bike, and this is an electronic.
Yes.
Totally different.
Yes, indeed.
Like to shift the front derailleurs on this, it's
two buttons.
Right? On the Domani, it's the big lever on the left side, and so like it's getting that sort of, it's actually a concern. Like I don't have a problem when I just go out and ride 100 miles or whatever. Yeah. But I'm starting to think, well, what is it going to be like?
The brain power.
Yeah, like
when
300 or 400 miles
in.
And I'm like, why is this thing not shifting?
6 days in and sleep deprived. So I noticed these are TLR. Are you running tubeless or tubes?
We're running tubeless.
Okay. How's your experience been with tubeless on your training rides and all that jazz?
I actually love it.
Okay.
I had an experience last year. We were talking about doubles in the California Triple Crown, and I was running the Best of the Bay, which is it's about, I can't remember how many feet, but it's a Mount Diablo climb. It's quite a bit of climbing.
Yes.
And that one is like in the early fall or late summer, August time range, and it's when all the like stickers are all dried out.
What do they call them?
The
goat heads. Yes.
Yeah, and they're dried out, and everybody was getting flat.
Yes.
And so I was riding with these like 3 or 4 other guys. They just kept getting flat after flat with their tubes, and I'm like, I haven't had a flat. This is so strange. And then I realized that one of the aid station stops, that I had actually had like 6 punctures.
Oh my goodness.
But it had just sealed up, and I never even lost hardly any air.
So what pressure have you been riding, and what tire size?
Yeah, so this one is a 26 in the front and a 28 in the back.
Okay.
I run them both about 91 pounds.
Wow, and you're getting it to seal at 90 pounds.
Oh yeah.
What sealant are you using?
Yeah, you can go pretty low in the PSI with tubeless, which is nice, a little more comfortable too.
Well, right? What I meant is I was having trouble getting them to seal at 80-ish.
Oh yeah.
And you're 90.
Yeah.
What sealant were you using?
So I just switched actually to the Silca.
Okay.
It has carbon fiber inside the sealant.
Yes.
Trying to see how that works. My experience so far is on my other bike, I had a sidewall puncture last weekend. I was doing like a 115-mile ride with these guys. Yeah. And 5 miles in, had a sidewall puncture on the front tire, which normally is like, that's it.
That's right.
Turn around and go home.
Well,
plug it and go home.
3 plugs.
Yeah, right. And so I didn't even notice when I had it. I was looking down at it and I noticed a weird little bump. And so when I stopped to meet everybody, I looked at it. I was like, oh man, I had a sidewall puncture. Yeah. But it sealed up without a plug. Dude, and so far that's been my experience.
You are definitely an ambassador for for tubeless, because I rant about it on my channel. Yeah. I was running 25s for a long time, and just the stuff wouldn't seal.
So I've heard anything under a 26 is pretty hard to get it
So now I run 28s, and I've just converted Jesse's over to 30s. Mm-hmm. So we will have a lot better luck.
Yes.
With the bigger tire and the lower pressure.
Yeah, my Domani I run 28s, but sometimes I'll put 30s on there. Yeah. Just a little bit more comfortable. And there's a little bit less rolling resistance, and you notice it in the bigger tires, 28s and 30s. And I know people running 32s on road bikes now, and it's just like, it's kind of a comfort thing.
It's coming stock on a lot of bikes now.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, the disc brake bikes are coming stock with 30 and 30 plus, right?
Yeah.
So 32. Well, John, thank you so much for taking the time to shoot 2 videos with us.
Appreciate it.
I'll try to connect with you up Oceanside, or maybe we come up on Saturday before you launch out. But for everyone else, please, thanks for watching, and please like and subscribe, and we'll see you up the road.